Hasselhoff guy? Were you into that?
Let me be honest with you.
Okay.
I know that was a hit show. I never saw it.
Yeah.
I know who the stars were.
Yeah.
I never saw
Me
it
either.
once. Did you?
No,
Did you watch it?
Never. I don't know what night it came
Not one
on
time.
back in the old days of appointment TV. I must have been watching something else specific.
I never saw it. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the NFL Combine begins. The Pistons beat an injured Thunder team. And PK Subban joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with college basketball and a bombogenesis landing directly on Rick Pitino and number 15 St. John's last night. St. John's, which came into this game with number 6 UConn riding a 13-game winning streak, went out of this game frozen solid like a package of green peas. St. John's literally missed its last 24 shots and finished with just 40 points, the lowest total of points in any of Rick Pitino's 1,224 games as a college coach. Red Storm my eye. UConn was up 14 when the drought started, up 32 at the buzzer. Wilbon, what do you make of this game, and where do you put the Huskies in the national picture?
Well, that's the only question. Where do I put the Huskies? And they could have won this game by a lot less than that. And they're going to be a 1 seed. They've lost 3 games. One of them was like to Arizona. They lost to St. John's. I mean, Tony, they're going to be a 1 seed no lower than a 2. Because I can't see them losing more than 1 game, so that wouldn't drop them to a 3 necessarily. So the worst they could be in their wildest dreams is a 3 seed, but a 1 or a 2. In the meantime, what does the game mean? Nothing. Rick Pitino, as we know, is a Hall of Fame coach. Rick Pitino is going to use every drop of film study from that game, not to mention the laboratory that is the gymnasium he will send them to practice in, and they will be so much better for the next 2, 3, 5 games because of this. Do I think that the Rick Pitino's team is going to lay down like dogs? No, I don't, and I'm sure you don't either.
Yeah, let me just give you a couple of teams, 4 teams actually, that UConn has already beaten this year. BYU, Illinois, Kansas, and Florida. That's a really good list of teams they've beaten, so I don't worry about them.
Resume.
I found this game last night unbelievable, literally non-believable, that a D1 team of scholarship athletes, of NIL receiving scholarship athletes, could miss 24 shots in a row, could finish with 40 points, the number 15 team in the country. It's, to me, that was actually not possible. All right? Rick Pitino at the end of the game took off his beautifully tailored suit. By the way, they had 14 in the second half, 14 points. It wasn't running time. It was a regular 20-minute half. He takes off the beautiful suit. He puts on a sweatsuit. He blames himself for everything. Now, this is different than happened 2 years ago when they lost a game, and he blamed all of his players for everything and said they were physically weak. He learned from that. And if I felt that this was sincere, I would think it was very good. But I watched it. It wasn't necessarily sincere. You're right. They are going to be better. But the oddest thing is this, and I'll get out on this. 3 weeks ago, they beat UConn. They shot 50% and had 81 points. This is not to be believed what happened.
But Tony, it's a split. It's a split of conference rivals. It's all right. And Pitino, whether it's sincere or not, you make me laugh at that because, of course, it wasn't.
Not sincere.
But you know what is going to be sincere? His effort at getting them to be embarrassed and then better. That is what is going to be sincere about Rick Pitino. The National Football League Combine, Tony, is underway in Indy. But the talk around town isn't just about the college stars running around in their undies. NFL GMs are also reportedly discussing free agents and potential trades for established stars. So are you more interested in the measurements of college guys or the potential movement of vets?
I like some of the measurables. I like when they find a quarterback, his hands are too small, which is a no-no, like Joe Burrow. It's too bad that Joe Burrow never became a good quarterback because his hands are too small. Really? And I never understood why they measured the down lineman in the vertical jump. I mean, I don't really know what that's about. But I'm sure, like you, I am less interested in the draftees, most of whom I've never heard of, than I am in what's going on with veterans who I am aware of. For example, that movement of veterans. Will Miami keep Tua? Will Arizona keep their quarterback as well? Does Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray. Will they keep him? I know you want Max Crosby to go to Chicago.
Yes.
Will the Raiders keep Max Crosby? Will the Philadelphia Eagles keep A.J. Brown? Where is Aaron Rodgers going to go if he's going to go? Where is Kirk Cousins going to go? Will Indianapolis pay their quarterback, Daniel Jones? Here's the deal, Mike. This is the beginning, the kickoff of Hot Stove. And Hot Stove is great in basketball, it's great in baseball, and it's great in football. It's great.
No disagreement. By the way, don't forget about Cincinnati's Hendrickson. If we're talking about pass rushers who could be on the move, they can't for back-to-back years come to a contract situation. So Tony, I'm interested in the vets and move. Although I will say, and I need to be a little bit apologetic. You know how much I have hated the combine and cursed the combine.
Yeah, you want to tell the story?
Both on this
you
show
tell the story about Tuesday?
Oh,
yeah, you want to tell the story about Tuesday?
Yeah, I clicked on because it said Combine Live, and I clicked on. Too bad it was last year's Combine, but I watched anyway. But Tony, we need some up-the-middle pass rush help and a stout run defender in the same body.
We the Bears.
And so this kid, that would be Cade McDonald, we need him in the middle. He's like 6'4", 360 pounds. So yes, I have my eye on certain positions out of the rookies and their measurables. Yeah. Yes, I do.
You're like a full-fledged assistant coach now without portfolio.
Yeah.
You watched last year's combine 2 days ago.
Only a couple of
minutes. You didn't even know. Let's go to the NBA in two of last night's featured games. Detroit beat Oklahoma City in Detroit 124-116, but Oklahoma City was missing its top 4 scorers at the tip and finished without its top 6 scorers. Denver routed Boston in Denver last night 103-84 with Nikola Jokic getting 30 points and 12 rebounds. These are 4 of the top 5 teams by wins in the entire NBA. Wilbon, what was the more intriguing outcome to you?
Denver. It was Denver, Tony, beating the Celtics. And look, the Celtics at the end of a road trip, and it's, we talk about schedule losses. And the NBA has more schedule losses than any other league, where you can look at it 3 weeks ago, and they're not getting that game. The Celtics weren't getting this game. But I digress. Nikola Jokic, I told you yesterday, I don't think he's going to miss another game. And I think he will be eligible for the MVP award because of that in terms of the voting. So, Tony, I thought that was it. Oklahoma City played their JV. And by the way, they are so deep and so talented that they can press Detroit in Detroit even without their dudes, even without the MVP, SGA. So that was fine. But I think Denver, look, I picked Denver this year when I didn't know what San Antonio was going to be or they were going to come this quickly, and I don't pick people to repeat. I have had Denver, and so this is a fascination to me.
I disagree with this. I mean, I fully expected that result. Okay. The other one, I thought that Detroit was going to have an easy game. I thought they were going to be up by a lot of points early. They were playing a phantom team. There's nobody out there for Oklahoma City. They're at home, and they have just come off a bad loss at home to San Antonio. They were down 12 at the first quarter. They were only up 6 at the half. Mike, that was a 3-point game with 5 minutes to go, and it's not like Cade Cunningham went 5 for 26 because he went 11 for 16. Mike, if I was a fan of the Detroit Pistons, I would be discouraged now. I would think these were 2 underachieving games at home in a row. San Antonio and Oklahoma City, who didn't have anybody out there. I watched a lot of that game. I couldn't believe it. I thought Detroit would sprint out, and they didn't.
Tony,
I was surprised.
The only pushback I would give is that there was probably a little bit of a letdown coming out of that loss to San Antonio at home. Tony, Oklahoma City has 20 guys who can play. Oklahoma City has, like we used to call it in pro football, a taxi squad. Oklahoma City has dudes at home that can come out and get you 20. They just do. They're that deep.
Gilgeous Alexander wasn't out there, and Holmgren wasn't out there, and Hartenstein wasn't out there.
They still got dudes.
A lot of guys. Well, maybe they do, but I expected something different. Let's take a break because I watched it. Coming up. The NHL season got back underway last night, which makes it a perfect time for a visit from our great friend, ESPN NHL analyst PK Subban. Let's start with this. You are Canadian. How does the loss to the United States in the Olympics, the Olympic gold medal hockey game, sit with Canadians? And do you see that changing the Canadians' approach going forward?
Well, for me personally, I hope it tweaks their approach. I mean, There's no question they could have ended that thing in overtime multiple times, and throughout the game they had their chance. It's a team that was built to score them and beat them 6-0. They don't have Crosby, they don't have McKinnon, they don't have McDavid, but what they do have is depth and strength in numbers, and they were able, in my opinion, exhausted by the end of the tournament. Canada failed, in my opinion, to get everybody involved. Now, did that cost them? No, that didn't cost them the tournament, but ultimately put USA in a position to take the tournament. And how did they do that? Connor Hellebuck, obviously, involved. Celebrini was awesome. McDavid was awesome. McKinnon was awesome. Makar was great. They were tired at the end of the tournament. And Makar, what happens when you're tired? You make poor decisions. Get the whole tournament. Team Canada should have had more guys involved. You can't have your best players out of gas at the end of the tournament. That's when you need them the most, is in that overtime. And to me, Team Canada wasn't prepared enough for the format. To me, Schaefer should have been there. Josh Morrissey, once you knew he was out, you only got one defenseman that can move the puck up the ice, Cale Makar. Well, that's why he's tired in overtime. So they needed another D. I'm not saying Schaefer was the guy. Maybe if Morrissey wasn't hurt, that gives him that look, but they didn't have enough. And in my opinion, when you get out goaltended and you don't score on a 5-on-3, you're going to lose that tournament. And Team USA took advantage of it. So Canadians got a right to be upset, but they're going to have to tweak how they put together the next roster and how they bring guys in. They need more guys involved.
One guy I'm sure they'd like to have had out there was Sidney Crosby, who, of course, got hurt and will start to transition back to the NHL season resumed, out for at least 4 weeks. And, of course, the Penguins are in the playoffs right now, PK. But how big a blow is this? Because you see the Penguins sliding because Crosby is missing so much time.
You know, I'm a little bit optimistic. We know that this is going to hurt them. Let's be real about it. You can't replace Sidney Crosby. I don't care who you put in the lineup or what trade you make. You ain't replacing them. They've had a great season. Give Kyle Dubas and them credit. They've managed to bring in young players. Chinnikov on their third line. They got bigger with Brazeau and Mantha on the wings. Malkin's playing better. Novak, Kindle, some of the young players that they brought in. They still have one of the best fourth lines in hockey. Their D looks okay. I know they got Carlson, who's still got to make sure that he's consistent every night, but I don't mind it. And they pick up Skinner, who's obviously looking better than Christian Jarry right now, who gave up 6 goals last night. So they're not in a terrible position in the second half, but losing Crosby's going to hurt them. So they're going to have to weather that storm. Hopefully he can get back earlier.
We got to talk about the Panthers for a second. Of course, they beat the Oilers for the Cup the last 2 seasons, and they're just sort of out of it. They're not the Panthers team that we necessarily expected. But where is Edmonton, PK? Do you see the Oilers as sort of, I don't know, being re-energized by all this? Is there a run coming out of them over the next few weeks?
Well, this is getting repetitive, and I feel the only reason why I come positive with the Oilers is because of Connor McDavid, and he deserves to have 10 rings right now with how great he is, and I just don't see how that's going to happen in Edmonton. They're going to have to show me. First of all, in net, like, they got to get in net figured out. Christian Jarry gives up 6 last night. That's not a great start to come in against a team of Anaheim. So we know up front, they're front-loaded, they're heavy up front. We know they have the experience to put the pressure on teams. Can their defense get it done? And to me, if their defense doesn't get it done, their goaltending is going to be left out to dry. So they're going to have to make some moves. I still do believe they're in a better position than they were last year and the year before. They're going to have to show me, because I think Connor McDavid understands that there's so much competitive balance in the league right now. It's up for grabs. So you can't get too caught up in losing streaks and winning streaks. You got to keep forging on and just get in. And if they get in, we know they're a dangerous team. But their goaltending and defense, for me, just aren't good enough. I don't know how to say it.
We got to get you out of here quickly. So we're going to ask this question quick and ask for a quick answer. The Avalanche dominated the early part of the season. Do you see Colorado as the team to beat now?
Well, for their offensive players, I hope they have energy come the playoffs, because those guys hum. I mean, the way they play fast and play with the puck. But the Minnesota Wild, they are going to have to get through Minnesota and Dallas to do that. I think Minnesota's the team that's gunning for them right now. I don't have to hear that out of that locker room, but I see Quinn Hughes, I see Brock Faber, I see Matt Boldy, I see Kaprizov, I see potential depth players coming in. They got great D. Minnesota's a problem. And I think that they're only going to get better as the season goes on. That's the team for me to watch. You know, Dallas is dangerous too. You got to give them credit. But we've seen them year over year. They have to prove that they're ready to take that next step. I think Minnesota's got a lot of firepower. They got a lot of energy. And I think they want Colorado.
PK, it's a pleasure. I'm so glad to have you
good to
back.
have you
We haven't
back.
seen
Yes,
you in
sir.
months. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me back, guys. It's always a pleasure. I hope to see you guys soon.
You can catch PK on The Point tonight, followed by the Rangers and Flyers and the Kings and the Oilers. Happy time, people. Happy 46th birthday, Steve Blake. This is right in our wheelhouse, Wilbon. We
Stevie
covered
Blake,
this guy
baby.
in Maryland, where he was a 4-year starter for our pal Gary Williams. Blake was the point guard on Maryland's NCAA championship team in 2002. When Blake left college, he was 5th on the all-time list for assists in a D1 career with 972. Now he is 7th. Blake played 13 seasons in the NBA for 8 different teams, mostly coming off the bench. Washington drafted him in the 2nd round. From there, Blake went to Portland, Milwaukee, Denver, the Clippers, the Lakers, Golden State, the Nets, and Detroit. For his long and plentiful career, Blake averaged 6 points and 4 assists a game.
Tony, I remember his freshman year, and he became so dependable so quickly. You know this for those Gary Williams teams. And he had to go against a great conference in point guards like Jay Will, who wound up being drafted 2nd overall. And Blake held his own. He got to a Final Four that they came up short and got to another Final Four. He and Juan Dixon.
And they won.
Just a great backcourt for Maryland. Love Steve Blake.
Happy anniversary, Damian Lillard. On this day 3 years ago, Lillard set a Blazers franchise record with 71 points. Lillard made 13 three-pointers, just one shy of Klay Thompson's record 14. Strikingly, those 71 points only tied the league high that season, as Donovan Mitchell had 71 as well. There are 10 players in NBA history who have scored 70 or more. Wilt, of course, did it 6 times. But 5 have come in the last 8 years. Lillard, Mitchell, Devin Booker, Joel Embiid, and Luka Doncic. Lillard has been rehabbing a torn Achilles all season, won the three-point contest at this year's All-Star game. He should be ready to return at Portland next season at 36 years old to collect his $54 million contract.
That's great. You know, I'm a big Lillard guy, but I'm going to go off script here for a little bit. You see the video just then of Wilt going up and slamming it down? All you producers, all you TV producers who want to show dunk after dunk, meaningless garbage, go get some Wilt video and put that up there every now and then.
Happy trails to free agency for Max Scherzer. The 41-year-old Warrior God is reportedly returning to the Blue Jays. Scherzer went 5-5 with an ERA over 5 across 85 innings for Toronto last season, though he was more effective in 3 playoff starts. Reports say the 3-time Cy winner, his new deal is for 1 year and $3 million. That's a pretty steep pay cut from last year's $13 million, and the message I get from that is take what we offer you and shut up and sign it. Just sign it.
Look, he's going straight to the Hall of Fame. But this year, out of old guys who've been great, I would take Verlander to have a better season than Max, I think. I would.
We'll see.
We'll
That's
see.
why they play 162.
That's
Let's
why.
go to the
Let's
big finish.
do it.
Colts have given quarterback Anthony Richardson permission to seek a trade. Should there be takers?
You think? Everybody hopes they find the next Sam Darnold. Maybe Anthony Richardson will be that. Oregon and Oregon State will not meet in football this fall for the first time since 1944. Tony, that's a shame to me.
That stinks. I don't care if they're not in the same conference.
Yeah.
Play the game.
Tee it up.
Suns owner Matt Ishbia wants to personally add $1 million bonuses to the dunk contest and three-point contest in next year's All-Star game in Phoenix. Would that help?
No, I like Matt's spirit on this and what he's trying to do. And the game is in his building next year, but I don't see it helping. Yankee slugger Giancarlo Stanton says can't open a bag of chips due to elbow pain, but he's determined to play a full season. Your thoughts?
I'm taking the under. Last one, men's college hoops tonight. 13th ranked Michigan State at number 8 Purdue. Okay, Mr. Big Ten, who you got?
Tom Izzo time. I'm going with the upset on the road.
Okay, we're out of time. We will try to do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now women's hoops. Tennessee at number 6 LSU. Giancarlo Stanton's got like almost 500 home runs, Tony.